Let's enter the streets of Rome. The crowd is already gathered. Two commoners, a cobbler and a carpenter, have been joking and dodging questions. This part we have already covered. Marullus and Flavius have already tried to discipline them, and the mood is uneasy, not joyful, not yet. Then the commoners leave, and now Marullus turns to the larger crowd. What follows is not an interruption, it is a continuation. His anger deepens, his tone sharpens, and now he begins his famous rebuke. Is it absolutely clear? Then we will proceed to the first speech. He begins with a sharp question. Wherefore rejoice? Wherefore means why. He is asking, why are you celebrating? Then he follows it up. What conquest brings he home? He over here refers to Julius Caesar. But notice the tone. It is not praise, it is sarcasm. He is saying, what victory? Whom did he defeat that you are celebrating? He next says, what tributaries follow him to Rome? To grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels. Very important. Please read it again. Read the line again. What tributaries? Tributaries over here means captured kings or defeated leaders. And captive bonds means chains. He's saying a real hero brings enemies in chains behind his chariot. But Caesar is not bringing defeated foreign kings. He is returning after defeating Pompey, a Roman. So the captives in this victory are not enemies from another land. They are, in a sense, his own people, fellow Romans. This is why Marullus is angry. This is not a proud victory over outsiders. It is a victory born out of a civil war. So the winner is a Roman, the loser is also a Roman. Then he goes on to say, you blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. So this is a metaphor. Please note it down. Metaphor. He compares the people to lifeless objects. Why? Because they are not thinking. Then, oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome. Okay, and he directly addresses the crowd and says that you're a hard-hearted, you guys are hard-hearted. Okay, that is, you lack feelings. Now he comes to storytelling. Marullus reminds them of the past. He brings in Pompey into his speech. He says, don't you remember? See how smartly he paints a scene. And what does he ask them to remember? What does he remind them? He reminds the people climbing walls and battlements, towers and windows, chimney tops, even with babies in their arms, waiting all day just to see Pompey pass. This is a visual imagery. You can see the crowd, you can feel their excitement. Okay, so please underline walls and battlements, towers and windows, chimney tops with babies in their arms waiting all day just to see Pompey pass. So this is he makes an emotionally evocative, he draws an emotionally evocative picture of the past in front of the crowd. Understand? Have you not made an universal shout that Tiber trembled underneath her banks? So Tiber river over here is personified and it is described as trembling. Okay, this the literary device employed here is called personification. And you see when the Tiber river is trembling, it is nature reacting to human emotion. Also, universal shout shows exaggeration. This is a hyperbole. Please write it down. Hyperbole. Understand? He says that you guys had shouted so much. As a crowd, you had cheered so much that even the river was trembling. But look at you now. That same person has been defeated, and you are celebrating the person who has defeated Pompey. Okay, please keep in mind that Julius Caesar did not kill Pompey. After losing to Caesar in the Roman Civil War, Pompey fled to Egypt. There he was murdered by Egyptian officials who wanted to impress Caesar, and the event is known as the assassination of Pompey. Okay, please don't write in your answer scripts that Julius Caesar had killed Pompey. I have seen many boys and girls doing this. Please don't do that. Then he says, to hear the replication of your sounds made in her concave shores. He means your echoes were so loud. The echoes of the crowd shouting were so loud that they bounced off the river banks. Okay. And now you put on your best attire, and now you dress up nicely. And do you now call out a holiday? Call out means choose. And now you're just freely choosing to take a holiday. And now do you now strew flowers in his way, and now you throw flowers before him. Again, a celebratory imagery. So you see he uses and do you now, and do you now, and do you now three times. This is a literary device called anaphora. What is this? The repetition of and do you now is called anaphora. Anaphora is a literary device. It builds rhythm, number one. Number two, it shows rising anger, and it traps the audience. They cannot escape the accusation. Think of it like your teacher saying, you forgot your homework, you forgot your test, you forgot your responsibility. Same structure, increasing pressure. Here, Marullus is doing exactly that. He is forcing the crowd to confront their own hypocrisy. So, you understand what anaphora is. And he says, now you're throwing flowers before him. That comes, for that man, that comes in triumph over Pompey's blood. So are you throwing flowers before that man whose rise came after Pompey's fall? So this is an emotional accusation. Be gone, get out. So he is commanding them. Be gone, get out. Run to your houses, fall upon your knees, go home, kneel down, pray to the gods to intermit the plague. Ask the gods to stop the punishment. Intermit means to hold back. That needs must light on this ingratitude. He says needs must means that must happen. Note it down. So he says because punishment will surely come for your thanklessness. So he is also terrifying the crowd for their apparently erratic behavior, for their apparently senseless behavior. Is it clear? If there is anything that you don't understand, go read it again. Go hear my lecture again. Okay. So there's the summary over here and also the word meanings. Please pause the video, note down whatever you have to. Then we will go to the next section. You just need to listen to this section very carefully. Okay. But you can pause the video right over here, and then we can continue further. If you carefully listen to how the speech of Marullus is structured, you will see that Marullus is not only scolding the crowd, he is intentionally frightening them into guilt and obedience. Okay, first he will reduce them to objects, and they are not even human according to him. He calls them blocks, he calls them stones, he calls them worse than senseless things. So this is a psychological trick. If you are called stone, you feel ashamed, you feel small, you feel worthless, and fear begins with humiliation. Then he quickly reminds them of their betrayal. Okay, he says that you used to climb walls, hold your children, wait all day. Why? Because he wants to make them realize that you loved Pompey, and now you love the same person who 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 has defeated Pompey. So this creates a moral fear. Okay, Then he uses an emotionally charged language. He says Pompey's blood. He doesn't say Pompey's defeat. He doesn't even say Pompey's death. But Pompey was not dead, but was not killed by Julius Caesar. That is also true. Blood is more physical. It suggests violence. It suggests and it evokes guilt. It makes Caesar's victory feel dirty, and the crowd feels complicit. Very important is the next part. He says he invokes something bigger. He invokes divine punishment. Pray to the gods to intermit the plague. Now the fear becomes supernatural, out of this world. In Roman belief, the gods punish wrongdoing. A plague is just not a disease. It is a curse, a sign of divine anger. So Marullus is saying, you have sinned, the gods are watching, and punishment is coming. You just wait. And he also orders physical submission. Run to your houses, fall upon your knees. These are not merely suggestions. These are commands. Go, run, fall, submit yourselves, pray, desperation. He's turning a noisy crowd into a fearful, obedient group. Think of this speech like this. Train your minds to think deeply. Just don't rush through the pages in the name of covering syllabus. Give yourself the time to think. If it did not make sense in the first time, go through my videos over and over again. Okay? And give yourself the time to process any new information that you might have gathered. We will continue the last part in my last video on this playlist.